one of the greatest players on the court and also in business. This is a definition that fits Michael Jordan perfectly. Jordan's business empire has allowed him to become the richest athlete in the world, surpassing other sports stars such as Cristiano Ronaldo and LeBron James. Michael Jordan is an example of how an athlete can transform his success on the court into an impressive business career, demonstrating that intuition, long-term vision, and the right choices can make a difference in achieving wealth and lasting success. And in this video, you will understand how he managed to become the richest athlete in the world by multiplying his earnings as a player. Before we continue, a quick message. These videos take a lot of effort to produce, so if you're still watching, please leave a like to support our work. Consider subscribing and leaving a comment below. Any feedback is appreciated. If you want to learn more about business, check out our list of recommended books in the description and comments below. Now back to the video's topic. Turning his name into a hugely successful brand and also creating a billionaire fortune with a series of investments. To highlight part of the history of the marriage between Michael Jordan and Nike was recently told in the acclaimed film Air. Still, because it is a work of fiction, some information may be different or shortened when compared to the real story. But anyway, let's understand why Jordan was so successful in business. Before becoming a basketball star, Michael studied at the University of North Carolina, where he majored in coastal geography. While taking his first steps as a professional, the great milestone of his business career began practically with the famous agreement with Nike, which gave rise to the Air Jordan brand, which would soon be known worldwide and would start a craze among young people and teenagers who wanted to have the sneakers with the Jumpman symbol on their feet. At first, from Nike's point of view, the contract with Michael Jordan was a real gamble. They created exclusive sneaker models for Jordan, a big investment for the rookie. The goal was to sell at least $7 million a year of the sneaker model, of the 5 years of contract, with the possibility of early termination in 2 years if two types of goals were not reached. Sports goals and profit goals agreed with the company. The sports goals would be achieved and exceeded. Among them, for example, was to maintain an average of 20 points per game. Michael Jordan would reach an average of over 30 points, which is extraordinary in basketball. But the most impressive are the economic results, or mentioned earlier. The goal was to earn at least $7 million in 5 years, with a minimum of $4 million in sales in the first 3 years. Otherwise, the deal would be broken. In the end, they sold $126 million in the first year alone. That's right, 18 times the initial target. Incredible results launched Nike into a phenomenal session, in a perfect union between the company and the player. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan's popularity exploded, especially thanks to his exceptional results and his own charisma, not to mention the awards as Player of the Year in various categories in almost every season. This also affected Nike's popularity, which went beyond the wildest dreams of Phil Knight and his employees. To get an idea, Jordan became famous in his first season, mainly for his dunks and his very high jumps, and reached his peak by winning 3 consecutive NBA championships in 1991 and 1993. And even after a brief retirement, he returns and becomes champion again 3 times until retiring for the second time. To top it off, he becomes the star of the movie Space Jam, which took his image to the whole world and brought fans who didn't know almost any basketball rule, but who loved every minute of the star. Along with the Looney Tunes, the film earned him a series of additional income and put his figure in the imagination of thousands of children who would later be new and avid consumers of Jordan products. And in addition to his success on the court and in the movies, as an athlete, Jordan began to diversify and multiply his investments. Because in 2000, he bought a stake in the Washington Wizards basketball team and became the company's administrator in 2000. In addition, he came out of retirement and returned to the court, this time as a partner in the team he plays for. However, the other shareholders decided that it would be better to leave him aside as a mere player on the team with no active voice within the franchise, and he decided to sell his shares and played his last season in 2003 and thus announced his retirement for the 3rd time, this time definitively. At the end of his career, he had accumulated a net worth of around $300 million, most of it coming from endorsements and commercial deals. It is estimated that over the years his total salary earnings were $100 million. However, these figures were just the beginning for him. The continued growth of Air Jordan, along with Nike's success, far exceeded the initial 5 years of the deal. Even 20 years after Michael's retirement, Air Jordan remains a very strong brand, functioning as a parallel brand to Nike, with a wide range of footwear and apparel in countless color and style combinations that have won over a legion of consumers who may not even like basketball or may have barely heard of Michael Jordan himself. With the end of the original 1984 agreement, there were a number of changes in the relationship between Jordan and Nike. Since the end of the first contract, Michael no longer receives a fixed annual payment. Instead, he receives 5% of what is raised from sales of the Jordan brand, including the Air Jordan sneakers, of which a new model is released every year. This condition has become extremely advantageous for him, especially since the brand has started to generate billions of dollars in revenue for Nike each year, and millions of dollars in earnings for Jordan himself. In 2022, for example, Nike earned about $5 billion from Air Jordan, which means more than $250 million for the former player. In other words, with the Jordan line alone, he earned in 1 year about 2.5 times what he earned in salaries in his entire playing career from 1984 to 2022. Michael Jordan has received over $1 billion from Nike alone, and curiously, he initially wanted to turn down the deal with the manufacturer. To give you an idea of the strength of the brand today, each sneaker model has become a collector's item, and the company produces a new model every year. Old models are often sold at auction for exorbitant prices. The first Air Jordan 1 model from 1984 is sold on average for over $6,000 on major auction sites like Works of Art. In 2021, a pair of Air Jordans worn by Michael in a single game was auctioned for $1.5 million. In other words, not only did Jordan himself become immensely wealthy, but he was also responsible for creating a parallel market that also generates millions of dollars on a recurring basis. The Nike deal alone would have guaranteed Jordan's success for the rest of his life, but he went much further. In parallel, he launched his own clothing line, Jordan Brand, which produces not only sneakers but also sportswear and accessories. By 2010, Michael Jordan had made some investments in restaurants and other small businesses, such as his chain of restaurants, Michael Jordan Steakhouse, which now has 4 locations. The first unit in New York opened in 1997, and if the dream of owning his own team hadn't worked out with the Washington Wizards, he tried again in 2006 when he acquired a stake in the Charlotte Bobcats basketball team. Over time, he acquired more and more shares of the team, eventually owning over 90% of the shares in 2010, which gave him full control of the franchise. In 2014, he changed the team's name to the Charlotte Hornets, restoring the original name. It is estimated that the star spent a total of $275 million to buy his shares of the franchise, and with Jordan's management and his name associated with it, the valuation increased dramatically, especially from 2014 onwards. So much so that the Hornets recently sold for a staggering $3 billion. And he didn't stop there with his investments. In 2019, he founded the Cincoro Tequila Company, along with other celebrities from the United States including Will Smith. In 2020, he opened the luxurious and exclusive golf course in Florida called Grove 23, named after his jersey number. Grove 23 cost over $20 million, paid for by Jordan and about 20 other investors. In recent years, he has continued to invest mainly in the world of sports. For example, in 2020, he invested in the betting company Trap Kings. In addition to stocks and investments, Jordan also became a board member and consultant for a company that operates in the betting and fantasy games industry. The star's fortune is becoming increasingly difficult to measure, and it seems to be getting bigger every day. Do you think he will also dominate the billionaire race? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Do you know which business model offers high profit margins, immense scalability, and requires low initial investment? The startup market specializing in software development is the optimal choice to bring together all these advantages. However, the only place where you will truly find a highly scalable service that demands low investment is with Roadmap. Roadmap has global experience providing consulting and developing apps for startups in the United States, Europe, and Latin America, making it by far the best option for new entrepreneurs. If you want to venture into the premier market, contact Roadmap right away through the website www.roadmap.co/home or via email at contact@roadmap.co.